This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. I had mentioned that I was going to do a video just to show people how did we get to this point with everything going on in the world. Well, there's lots of ways, really, but one could point a finger directly at fluoride. Because we live in such a passive society, a lethargic society, where people are just getting stomped on by Big Brother and don't seem to care. As the media continues to contradict every word they say over and over, as per masks, as per the things, the side effects that people are getting, as per all these new variants that are popping up, everybody just shrugs their shoulders and gets beat up and says, okay, as businesses close, as people lose money. And you have to look no further than fluoride. Now, before I get into it, I want to remind everybody, so that's up exclusively on the website at callforanuprising.com. Check it out if you haven't, $2.99 a month. The forum itself is worth it, but there's exclusive video content over there, unfiltered, uncensored, so check it out. Now, I'm going to show you some stuff here that'll make you cringe, but also make you laugh. For those of you who aren't aware, fluoride has been dumped in our water now for quite some time. Fluoride is a chemical that does a lot of bad things to you, including cancer-causing things, including infertility type stuff. You notice how more and more people aren't able to have kids and reproduce, and one of their goals is what? To depopulate? That doesn't have anything to do with one another. They don't correlate at all. But the main thing really that should concern people about fluoridation in the water is the fact that people like Stalin were doing this to their, to his people. People like that guy with the mustache. If you don't remember him? Yeah, they were putting fluoride in the water, testing it on people like lab rats. And they noticed that they became very, very calm and very, very lethargic. And there was no rebellion in them from the effects of the fluoride on their brain. They noticed that people were becoming more and more weak, mentally weak. Now, in addition to fluoride being in the water, our government has admitted that aluminum is in our water. Aluminum, the same stuff that they dump on us from the skies. Now, why is aluminum bad? Well, aluminum is something that can lead and causes autism. And why is there such a skyrocket in these diseases over the last 50 years? Oh, because it's just the way nature goes? Or is it because they're putting chemical compounds in our food and water and causing us to be this way? Now, you might say, how does this all correlate with the world we're living in now? Well, it correlates because people just don't care anymore. They're rolling over, or should I say bending over, to Big Brother. They've even admitted to putting chlorine in our water. That's right, chlorine. The same thing that's in your pool, the same thing they tell you not to drink.
Kids love to stay cool in the pool, but doctors are warning parents to be sure their children aren't drinking the water. A couple of swallows are harmless, but ingesting too much can cause chlorine poisoning, bacterial infections, or even secondary drowning if a child inhales water into their lungs. Doctors at Bay State Medical Center say there are some symptoms that you can look out for.
Headaches, fevers, diarrhea, rashes. In fact, we just recently, within the past 2 months, have had a child hospitalized at Bay State Children's Hospital with this diagnosis.
So I'm going to show you some video clips here of just how these safety videos that Big Brother used to roll out to make people feel like, ooh, water's going to help my teeth and I'll have nice teeth. Meanwhile, they don't even mention how they just dump all these processed sugars inside of everything, and that's why people have tooth decay in the first place. And the fact that fluoride does nothing to prevent it. What it does is it weakens a society. And that's why people just continue to shrug it off, not care, and do nothing about it, because they've been drugging us and getting away for far too long. And for the people out there who go, the anti-conspiracy people who still are okay with fluoride in the water because they're so stupid, they go, it's just a small trace. It's not something that's going to affect you. Well, let me tell you this. If you gave me your cup of coffee this morning and I put a small dose of rat poison in it that wouldn't officially kill you, would you still drink it? Oh, no, I wouldn't, Call. Oh, okay, but they're not the same thing. And why is that? Is aluminum good for you? Are these types of chemicals good for you? No, they're not. They even tell you that they can kill you if taken too high of a dosage. But the same can be said for rat poison. I'm sure you wouldn't want that in your water, now would you? Take a look at some of these clips and tell me this is not absolutely comical how they play off and get away with this stuff.
I live in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Population 100 of the Lower Peninsula, 30 miles from Lake Michigan. Grand Rapids is a typical Midwestern city, sharing the problems and joys of every other American city. It's called the furniture capital of the world. However, our industry is not restricted to furniture. Our manufacturers are known corporations, being built adjacent to some beautiful older areas. We're proud of our churches. We're proud of our schools and the far-sighted program of our boards of education. We are proud of our children and look forward to their future. We're especially concerned with their safety and health. We guard them against disease and accidents. We protect our children through safety programs. Not a child has been killed on his way to or from school in 21 years. I was particularly pleased when my daughter came home and told me that she had had her teeth examined in school. The next time I visited my dentist, he told me about the dental decay studies conducted in Grand Rapids by the United States Public Health Service, the University of Michigan, and the Michigan Department of Health. The water supply for Grand Rapids comes from Lake Michigan about 30 miles west of Grand Rapids, where an intake pipe is located about a mile out in the lake. A pumping station sends the water toward Grand Rapids, where a second pumping station boosts the water load along its way to the city. These pumps can deliver 60 million gallons of water a day to our filtration plant. The superintendent explains to us that alum, charcoal, and chlorine are added to the water before it enters the mixing basin. Sulfur dioxide and sodium fluoride are added after the water leaves the settling basins and before it enters the filters. The materials used in water production include sand and gravel, lime, alum, charcoal, fluoride, chlorine, and sulfur dioxide. The alum is used to precipitate the foreign material from the water. The charcoal to remove odors and taste, and the sodium fluoride to reduce the amount of tooth decay. The chlorine purifies the water, and the sulfur dioxide is used to remove the excess chlorine in the water. Here we see the equipment used to add sodium fluoride to the water supply. This carefully controlled amount of fluoride is perfectly safe and absolutely harmless. From the filtration plant, the water is distributed through our water system to our homes. Here is water produced under the most exacting conditions, containing a safe, controlled amount of sodium fluoride, which will reduce tooth decay in our children. The approximate cost of fluoridation of the water supply is 14 cents per person per year. This map shows towns using naturally fluoridated water containing 7/10 parts per million of fluoride. These towns add fluoride in a controlled amount, and over 30 million people are now drinking controlled fluoridated water. There's no difference between the fluoride in naturally fluoridated water and the fluoride added to water in a controlled fashion. These two samples of naturally fluoridated water were taken from two wells located near Saginaw and Flint. The water from wells A and B being placed in beakers then poured into test tubes. Here we see a beaker of Grand Rapids water supplemented with fluoride, and distilled water which contains no fluoride. The reagent for the test is drawn into a pipette and is placed in all 4 of the test tubes. Samples A and B from the naturally fluoridated wells, Grand Rapids water, and water known to contain no fluoride. The test shows that the fluoride in wells A and B and Grand Rapids water is the same. The response of distilled water is a negative pink color. My dentist and I went to see Dr. Winston B. Prothro, City and County Health Officer. We asked him some questions. Is fluoridation safe? In my opinion, he answered, it is completely safe. What effect has it had on the disease rate in Grand Rapids? No ill effects whatsoever. The death rates for most diseases have actually decreased, although we do not credit for this decline. Would you recommend that a city use fluoride in its water supply? I have recommended it since the value of fluoridation for the prevention of dental decay has become known. I would certainly recommend it for any community in which I have health jurisdiction. On file with the County Dental Society are statements from members of the medical profession over and over again that they have seen no ill effects from the fluoridation of the Grand Rapids water. In the dental office, my dentist showed me some actual cases of tooth destruction in girl age has 14 surfaces of her teeth involved in dental decay. Another little girl, age 5, with 11 surfaces of her teeth involved in dental decay. This boy, 8, with 31 surfaces of his teeth attacked by dental decay. This girl, 9, with 25 surfaces of her teeth decayed. I was very pleased when the dentist started to tell me about my own children. And I was glad to see that Bill, who was 4, had no surfaces of his teeth attacked by decay. And Molly, who was 6, had none. Noreen, who was 9, had only 3. And Susan, who's 10, had only 4. Here's Bill with 4 years of drinking fluoridated water and no areas of decay. Molly, with 6 years of fluoridated water and no areas of decay. Noreen, with 9 years of fluoridated water and only 3 areas of decay. And Susan, with 10 years of fluoridated water and only 4 areas of decay. We visited a school while a dentist from the United States Public Health Service was making an examination. These examinations are carefully made to note all the conditions present in each child's mouth. These examinations have been conducted twice a year for a period of 10 years, and the findings have been recorded tooth by tooth. This plate, with a few bacterial colonies, indicates low decay activity, which is typical since fluoridation began. And as a result of this 10-year study, the decay rate for children from 5 to 10 years of